welcome to the Stylecraft tutorials. This is part 3 of the Ross blanket, which Stylecraft are running as a cal. We're going to be making this square. It consists of 12 rounds and you use every colour apart from the grey. We'll be starting with our denim shade, so let's get started. So with our denim yarn, we're going to start with a magic circle. So for that we are going to place the tail down the palm of your hand, like so. Grab the yarn and wrap the tail from left to right around your thumb, making this cross shape here. Yep. And now we're going to take the hook and place it under this tail end here. I'm going to grab this loop and pull it to the front, and then from the same place we're going to grab another loop and pull it through the loop we've already made, like so. So that secures your magic ring. So now I can take my thumb out of there and we can hold the yarn as normal, and then I'm going to hold that magic ring down here because that's where I'm working into. Okay, so now we want to chain 3 and work a treble into that magic ring. So yarn over into your magic ring, pull through 2, pull through 2. Now we're going to chain 3 and another 2 treble into the magic ring. 1, 2, chain 3 again, another 2 treble into the magic ring, another chain 3, another 2 treble, and your last chain 3. And now we can pull that tail to draw in that magic circle, which you can see really closes up that middle. Okay, so now we're wanting to join this 3 chain to that first chain 3, and we're joining with a invisible join. So we're cutting that working end of the yarn and we're pulling up like so. Then we are inserting our hook into the top of that chain 3, so it's the stitch of that very first normal treble that you've done. It sits to the right of that treble, so it's at the top of that chain 3 and just to the right of that first treble. There. Okay, now we're grabbing that tail that you've just cut, grabbing it with the hook and pulling it through to the front. And now we're inserting our hook into that very last chain that we did, but we're not going through the full stitch, we're just going through the back loop of that, and we're going from back to front, like so. Just that back bit of the stitch. Grab the yarn and pull it through. That's your invisible join. Okay, so that's the end of round 1. So now we just need to grab our cream yarn. So we're joining with a standing treble to any of the chain 3 corner spaces. So for that we're going to pinch the yarn on the hook like so and wrap around about 3 times. Insert your hook into a chain 3 corner space, grab the yarn and pull through 2 and pull through 2. That's your standing treble. And now we're going to work another treble into that space, There we go. Now we're going to chain 2 and work another 2 treble into that space. So that's what each of your corners is going to be like. 2 treble, 2 chain, 2 treble. And then round every treble we are going to work a front post treble. Okay, so yarn over and we're working around the post of that treble like so, just picking up the post, not working into the stitch at the top. So that post sits on your hook. Grab the yarn and pull around the back of that treble. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's how you do a front post treble. And again, yarn over, we're doing that into the next one as well. So we're inserting the hook in between them 2 trebles now and going around the back so it sits on the front. Grab the yarn and pull through 2 and pull through 2. Okay, so that's what we're going to do all the way around here. So we're putting this corner into here again now, so 2 treble, two chain and 2 treble. And now your front post trebles around your next 2 treble. Okay, so your corner space again, 2 trebles, 2 chains, 2 trebles. Around them posts again. So it's 2 front post trebles, over the next 2 trebles. Now we're into the corner again, 2 trebles, 2 chains, 2 trebles, and now the front post treble around your next 2. So then you've got this little square motif there. Okay, so now we're going to join with a invisible join, not a slip stitch. Cut the yarn and pull that tail up with the hook. And now we're inserting, that's your standing treble there, and that's your first treble. We're going into the top stitch of that first treble, so it's in between these 2 posts here. It's that first V that you've got, like so. Grab the yarn that you've just cut and pull it through to the front. So it should be travelling around the back there. And then in the last stitch that you did, that little V there, we're just picking up that back loop, not the full stitch, and we're going from back to front. There we go, grab the yarn and pull it through so the tail end is facing backwards. And that's your invisible join. So that is round 2 completed. And as long as you've got your 4 trebles, 1, 2, 3, 4, and your 2 front post trebles in between your two chain spaces, then you should be right. So in between each of these 2 chain spaces, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4 trebles and 2 front post trebles. Okay, so now we will grab our dark brown yarn for round 3. So we're going to join with a standing treble to any chain 2 corner space. So pinch the yarn, wrap around about 3 times, insert your hook into a corner space, grab the yarn and pull through 2 and pull through 2. Then we're going to put another treble into that corner space, chain 2, and another 2 treble into the corner space. So now we're working 2 front post trebles around the trebles from the previous round. And then 2 normal trebles into the front post trebles from the previous round. So into that stitch there, into that one there. Okay, so that's a treble into each of the next 2 front post double trebles, and then another 2 front post trebles into the next 2, over the next 2 trebles. There we go. And then 2 trebles, 2 chains, 2 trebles into the corner. There we go. So that's what your edge should look like. So now we're going to do 2 front post trebles over the next 2 trebles from the previous round. And then 2 normal trebles over the next 2 front post trebles. So into this stitch here, and then into the next, and then 2 front post trebles around the next, over the next 2 front post trebles, no, normal trebles from your previous round. Okay, so now we're working 2 trebles, 2 chains, 2 trebles into this corner space, doing exactly the same across these stitches. So you've got front post treble, normal treble, normal treble, front post treble, and then in the corner again, 2 chain, 2 treble, 2 chain, 2 treble, and then the same along these stitches here. Okay, so I'll see it when you get to that point. So now we've got to the end of round 3. Let's just check our stitches. It's a bit hard to see in this dark yarn, but in between each of the corner spaces you should have 10 trebles, 2 being the 2 trebles that go into that corner space. Then you come to your next 2 front post trebles, then your 2 normal trebles that go into them 2 centre front post trebles from the previous round, then 2 normal trebles, 2 front post trebles that go into the normal trebles from your previous round, and then 2 trebles that go into that corner there. So you should have 10, 4 of which are the 2 lots of front post trebles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So make sure you've got that amount of stitches in between each of your 2 chain spaces. Now, because we're continuing with the dark brown yarn, we're not going to join with an invisible join, we're joining with a slip stitch. So for this, you need to join into that standing treble. You don't want to be joining into that first stitch, your first normal treble stitch, which would be here. So you don't join where you join for an invisible join. You join into the top of that standing treble here. So I just join to the top and into the side of it like so. Grab your yarn and pull to the front, and then pull that loop through that loop for your slip stitch. There you go. Then we're going to chain 1, and then we're working a DC into that same space that we have just slip stitched to, and then we're putting a DC into the next stitch, which is that first treble. So now we're working a DC, 2 chain and a DC into the corner space, DC, 2 chain, DC, and now we're going to work 1 stitch into each of the treble, into each treble across this row until you get to the 2 chain corner space. So like we counted before, we should have 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that is what you're repeating into your corner space. You repeat in the 1 DC, 2 chain, 1 DC. So we'll do that now. 1 DC, 2 chain, 1 DC, and then a DC into each of the 10 stitches along here, and then doing the same into that corner again. So you just need to do that another 3 times, working along these 10 stitches, putting a DC into each one of them, 1 DC, 2 chain, 1 DC into the corner, 1 DC into each of them trebles along here, same into the corner, and working along. When you get to this end, because you already started, when you did that slip stitch, we already worked 2 DC. So when you come to work along here, you've already worked 2, so you should only be doing 8 across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so I'll see you when you get to that point. So now we've got to the end of round 4, we can join with a slip stitch. Cut the working yarn and pull up with the hook. So when we're joining with a slip stitch, with an invisible join now, we don't want to be working into that first chain 1, we want to be working into the first DC, which is here, and insert your hook into that first DC, grab the yarn and pull it to the front. And then that very last DC that you did, we're inserting the hook from back to front through there, just picking up that back loop of the stitch, not the full V, and grabbing the yarn that you've pulled to the front and pull it back through to the back. Okay, so that is round 4 completed now. So now we need to get our silver yarn for round 5.